And a prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor Tim, if you'd get us started, please.
Let's join in prayer. Well, Lord, let me start off first and tell you thank you for the rain. And Father, I also want to thank you for the opportunity that we can choose on our own schedule to meet here in this great country called the United States of America. Lord, you told us that your divine power has given us everything we need for life and godly living through our knowledge of you. So you're worthy of all of our honor and praise. You're the source of all that's good. You're the source of all our blessings. And I want to thank you for every gift that you've given us, especially the gift of forgiveness and eternal life through Jesus Christ. We ask for your blessing in this meeting, that you would guide and direct our meeting so that it's full of wisdom, solutions, productivity, and respect for one another. And thank you in advance for helping us to accomplish our work and our goals today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, next on our agenda, I'd like to welcome everybody here today for this meeting and taking an interest in what we have ahead of us. And then item 4 here, comment on items not on the agenda. Is there anybody in the audience or that has something they'd like to talk about? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on, and we need to determine additions and revisions to our agenda. To my knowledge, unless you guys have something over there that's changed, I don't think. So with that, if we're not, our next discussion will be over the consent agenda. And there are some items on the consent agenda here that with the recent storm and disaster out at Plevna in that area of the county. Since some of that is on this agenda, consent agenda, I would suggest that maybe Adam might fill us in on where we're at on that and how things are coming along. And
good morning, Commissioners. Adam Weiss, our Emergency Management Director. So all the way back on Sunday, May 18th, about 11:50 in the evening, there's a tornado warning that was issued for the county. And that tornado actually ended up impacting not only us, but also Pratt and Stafford. So the tornado took a 32-mile track. It was an EF3 rated tornado with approximately 158 mile-an-hour winds, and at the widest point, it was about a mile wide, and that widest point was in Reno County. Unfortunately, the area of Plevna took the worst hit of that, and that's kind of what we're working through right now. So when Plevna got hit, immediately after that, all of our rural county districts, as well as the sheriff's office, organized a grid search to go out and check on every single resident that was impacted from that. So they checked on every home in that area that the tornado went through and made sure that everyone was all right. Fortunately, we had no injuries, no deaths, anything related to the tornado that happened. At the same time, there was a structure fire that came out, so some of our fire units actually had to go work a structure fire. At the same time, there was a grid search that was being completed. So we worked through the evening trying to identify places to go, what the community needed. There's no power in the community. We knew there were some homes that were hit. So we activated the Red Cross, and we also activated Salvation Army to come in, set up sheltering operations and feeding operations, again, not knowing what we needed. We knew the town of Plevna didn't have any power or any utilities available to them, so our shelter actually got set up at the Abbeville Community Center. So we told everyone who was impacted from the Plevna area, they can go ahead and go to Abbeville, and we'd be sure they're taken care of. So all in all, what we found is there's 9 homes destroyed. That's both inside the city of Plevna and outside. And there's approximately 28 homes that are impacted, including the 9. We did what's called a multi-agency resource center, both Tuesday and Wednesday evenings last week. And what that multi-agency resource center does is it connects our citizens with all the resources that are available to them. So we asked them, if you're a victim of this tornado, go to the Abbeville Church and we put you through a check-in process. So the Red Cross was there, Legal Aid was there, Salvation Army was there, our VOAD, which are voluntary organizations active in disasters, were there. I'll touch on them in just a minute. We had insurance companies, a restoration company, the health department, and also the Department of Aging that would help people replace their lost items. So we had 19 people come to that MARC, or that multi-agency resource center, and those 19 people have requested assistance. How the assistance works in our long-term care recovery team is our VOAD, again, our voluntary organizations active in disasters. And this VOAD takes in all the donated dollars and distributes it to the victims. So when someone donates $1, there's no administrative fee or anything else taken off that dollar. If $1 comes in, $1 comes out to the victims. And it's all ran through the United Way. So the VOAD is currently working with 19 different families to try to get them some sort of assistance. And dollars are very important for us right now because we're not going to qualify for any state or federal help. We didn't meet our disaster thresholds for any sort of state or federal help. And in addition, we don't have enough damage to qualify our citizens for the Small Business Administration loans. So SBA loans, if you recall from the Cottonwood complex, we had to have 25 homes that are damaged beyond 50%, who are uninsured, who have that loss, and we're nowhere close to that for this. And SBA is generally the easiest assistance we can get. So the donated dollars is really what we're relying on. It's the dollars from the community pouring in to take care of the victims. And what's kind of scary to us is, of those 19, 10 of them don't have any sort of insurance on their homes or their properties. So we're really going to have to raise some dollars locally to be able to support our community. And the community's always answered our call in the past. I know some of the commissioners were out there, and I know the public's seen it. It's amazing living in Reno County and seeing the outreach from the citizens. We've been out there every day, and every day there's tons and tons of volunteers out there. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of labor that's been done completely free of charge. At one point in time, it wasn't even safe to walk the streets because there's so much heavy equipment around the area cleaning up the tornado debris and damage. And it's really impressive, and I think it speaks volumes for the sense of community that's in Reno County. So there's all kinds of cleanup that's happened. It's getting clean. Public Works spent the day Thursday out there with some crews taking dump trucks into the landfill full of debris. They spent another day out there yesterday doing the same thing. Our work's not done in the community. We're going to keep walking hand in hand with the victims. I venture to guess some more will come out of the woodwork, and we're going to have to work with some more victims than the 19 that's what's originally on our list. But it's a long-term process. Cottonwood Complex took us 2.5 years to get done. So we think that's probably a reasonable time frame, is we're going to be walking hand in hand with these victims for the next couple years. As far as cleanup goes, our cleanup is really focused on making sure people's homes are safe. We want to provide the basic necessities. We want people to feel safe in their home and be able to get to their homes. And we want to do the best we can to clean up the community, but that's not a big role the county can take on. That's something that the city needs to be responsible for, is picking up some of the stuff in the tree rows and further away from the house that we can't get to, and some of the volunteers can't do either. So again, it's going to be a long-term process, but we're going to be there with the community for the long term. We're going to be there with the victims for the long term. But everyone just has to have a little bit of patience. As far as the VOAD goes, the VOAD's going to continue raising money through the United Way. The United Way, you can donate through the Reno County United Way. I think it's unitedway.renocounty.org/disasters, and that should take you to the donation page. There's also a benefit concert on Friday where the portions of those proceeds go to the Plevna disaster victims as well. So again, just relying on the community to support those in need. With that, I'll stand for any questions.
Question, Adam. In reading through the documents, our disaster document states Reno County individually. We had to ask, I'm assuming you said Stafford and Pratt had problems. I'm assuming they did the same thing. So you said you need a threshold of homes damaged. Is that the sole, or monetary? Is that the sole decision on whether we get aid from the state or further than Reno County? Because you stated, and I've read, that's been denied at this point.
So there's 3 different pieces that really come into play. There's individual assistance, which is IA. There's public assistance, which is PA, and then there's SBA, the Small Business Administration. So what we usually qualify for with our disaster declaration is public assistance. So our local threshold is about roughly $295,000. So once we meet that $295,000 of county loss, uninsured city loss, we can submit that to the state for reimbursement. The state, once they hit their threshold of approximately $5 million, they can submit that to the federal government for reimbursement. So our $300,000 threshold is just for Reno County. Every county around us has to meet their threshold as well, and then the state has to meet that cumulative threshold.
So we have one storm event, but it gets broken down into 3 counties, so it makes it about impossible or it makes it a lot harder to qualify for the citizens. I mean, they're our neighbors, and just because you live on one side of the road or the other, it gets split up.
If we met our threshold, the state would have to meet their threshold as well, and that's where all the counties are counting their dollars to meet the cumulative threshold for the federal disaster. And that cumulative threshold that we can include every county in is about $5 million. For the IA, that with the individual assistance that would actually go out and help individuals, that's very, very, very challenging to get. That's not something we've ever received in Reno County. And if you look on a bigger scale, if you look into like the Andover tornado that occurred a couple years ago, they didn't even qualify for individual assistance. So the lowest threshold that we can usually help our citizens with is the SBA, the Small Business Administration, where it opens them up for some low interest rate loans to fix their properties. That's usually the easiest to get, and that's 25 homes. So we didn't meet the threshold of the 25 homes.
So I just read in yesterday's paper the March storms were originally denied by the state as a disaster, but here this week that changed. It doesn't appear like there'll be anything in the future.
So the March storms, I know they met their cumulative threshold over $5 million statewide, and they submitted that, and it just got approved for a presidential disaster. We're gonna chase the PA. We're gonna go after it. We're gonna submit documents for it, but I don't foresee us receiving anything in return. If we did receive something in return, it's not something that comes immediately. For the Cottonwood fires, we received money just last year in reimbursement for it. So it's 2 to 3 years down the line before we'd see anything from it. But my office will actively chase those dollars. We just don't expect to see anything.
Well, yeah, just don't give up too soon. I feel sorry for the people. You lose a lot in a short time, and some of the stuff I saw, why. But it all hinges on houses, not so much damage, because I saw equipment out there that was damaged. Buildings fell on equipment that's worth $300,000-400,000.
So
And you got several pieces of equipment like that. It wouldn't take long to get over to one. But I'm understanding all we can count is houses and buildings.
So all we're counting is houses and buildings, or if it's business related, we can count towards uninsured loss for SBA. But we have to be able to prove that it's uninsured loss. And that's where it gets extra challenging for us, because a lot of people don't want to tell us if they're insured, if they're not insured, what they're insured for. They don't want to tell us, and that's their right as well.
Well, I just, in driving by, you see certain things, like I said, that one piece of the right equipment would get you past the 290 something. And I know there was places where that was lost, not necessarily in Reno County, but so I've been trying to think of some way to get some extra help. I guess it's on Reno County, is what you're telling us, and it's citizens. Anybody else have anything? Another question. We recently passed some regulations, laws, whatever you want to call them, like on the neighborhood disaster. Does that, our neighborhood revitalization, will that come into play? And the other thing is, I happened to talk to Michael Plank at a recent gathering, and there's, I guess, if you have a house there now and you don't have it there in 10 minutes from now, there's valuation loss. He indicated there are ways for him to help in that way. It's a lot simpler am I not right?
Yeah, Commissioners. So we just looked at this recently. Any structure that was damaged as a result of the tornado I don't know if if the appraiser's department is ready for an application yet, but they can make application to get their taxes adjusted due to the damage to the structure, loss of the structure. And then they could, as they rebuild, apply for the NRP. That'd be two separate applications, but they can apply for an adjustment that says their structure was destroyed by the tornado, and the appraiser's office will adjust that. And then when they rebuild it, they can apply for NRP and get the county portion of their property taxes rebated. So that is some help we'll be offering.
Being a new regulation, I wanted to make sure that was made public, and I think Adam has been doing that probably in those meetings you had.
And what we'll do after, if that's the direction we're moving, we can put out either a press release, and what we've done in the past with at least the tax piece of it with Mike, is we've asked our citizens to fill out an application form or a disaster form so it can be re-inspected. So we'll push that information out, but that's another one of those things that just takes some time to get to that point.
Well, I just wanted to make sure, and this is a public forum, we remind people that they're, and as recent as the neighborhood revitalization deal was, a lot of people don't realize it's out there, and it's not a lot, but these people who've lost everything kind of need all we can get to them.
And
So,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
getting the word out because it won't happen. We can't do it automatically. We will need them to apply either with the emergency management or get funneled to the appraiser's office. But the county would need some information from them so we can help them do that stuff.
Well, good. That was the point I was trying to get to today. With that, has anybody got anything else for Adam? Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Stay after it. I know you're busy. With that in mind, is there any other discussion on anything else on the consent agenda?
I would move to approve the consent agenda as presented by staff.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second, but we found let me see here. We're wanting to final minutes for April 30th. We, in the discussion part, we have the motion and the second. We have found a slight error in the minutes that, yes, if you would.
On page 1, it says Mr. Parks' motion and Mr. Winger. It's missing the word seconded. So Commissioner Winger seconded that motion, so that is a correction. And then on the third page, or the last page, Commissioner Bogner's explanation about they need a good way to address, or he recommends better training for people making calls. And I think he meant for taking calls is what the change was.
I was given some misinformation. You're correct.
And then on the executive or motion for the executive session, it says potential hiring of an elected personnel, and just needs to remove the word elected, just hiring of personnel. Were some changes, modifications that Commissioner Bogner brought to our attention last night or yesterday.
Yeah, with the short week, normally those things get taken care of before we get here. But with the short week, and last night when I reread, I caught the last one. So with that in mind, do we want to restate a motion?
It's all right with the second, I'll restate that motion, we'll rescind that one, and then instead of making an amendment to it, as corrected, add the other words as corrected.
You had the second. All right. So now we have a motion to vote on the agenda as corrected. So, if there's not anything else, Autumn, would you help us out?
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Vincent?
Yes.
Commissioner Winger?
Yes.
Commissioner Hurst?
Yes.
Commissioner Bogner?
Yes. So, that brings us to item 7. 7A on our business is Health Department Annual Report. Carla, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carla Nichols, Director of Public Health. Have with me today Karen Hammersmith, who's our Assistant Director of Clinical Services, and Megan Gottschalk, who's our Assistant Services for Population Services. I'm sure that you've read through the annual report. It is a summary of everything that was provided to you last month in our monthly reports. In our monthly report, try to summarize what is going on with the different areas of the health department. Any questions on the annual report?
Anybody have any questions of Carla? It was really pretty self-explanatory, but you got some questions? Let's hear them.
Thank you. Thank you. Our staff do a really good job. And I tried to structure the annual report just like we do our monthly report as far as the different areas of the health department, including like our administrative or our finance area, our child care license specialist, our clinical areas, our health education, preparedness and medical reserve corps, and then our women, infant, and children areas. So again, just a reminder as far as the focus of the health department, again, we are just focused on prevention and education. So just it's a good reminder for all of you guys and anybody listening. It's a good reminder to focus on prevention. We do what we can as far as making sure that you're contacting your medical provider and scheduling your annual medical exam. It's a good time to talk to them about any test or any immunizations they need to get caught up on. Remind to schedule your annual dental appointment, schedule your annual eye appointment. Again, focus on prevention. And then contact us if you have any questions on education resources. We facilitate many collaboratives in the community on health and education, whether that's tobacco cessation resources, if you need some substance misuse help, if you need anything on food advisory. So again, we're your resource when it comes to anything public health and on prevention and education on making Reno County healthier.
Carla, one quick question you might address. Am I reading this correct? You came up just a tad short on funds. There must have been some carryover funds operating.
Yes.
25,000.
Yes. Some of our grants didn't come in as much as we thought that they would as far as budgeted. So yes, we use some of our carryover funds for our operating to make up that loss for last year.
Well, figuring a year out in advance to come that close is pretty darn good, I think. Somebody had a pretty good crystal ball.
We have very good fiscal associates that work in our office that do a really good job. And a lot of our directors and assistant directors and what am I thinking, supervisors that manage staff and manage our resources to try to be fiscal stewards with county resources.
Well, thank you. Is there any other questions for Carla, or we?
I don't have a question as much as I wanted to say I appreciated the data that was shown in this report, because I think that's important for not only you to know, but I think it's important for us to know as we look forward to the needs of the county. And that way it can be a coordination among the different organizations that can make things happen. I call it that, to find those areas that we're short of and to see how we can solve some of those problems over time.
Well, anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you for your support. We appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. Seem to. So there's, other than just a report, there's nothing we have to vote on there. Next item would be County Administrator report on monthly department reports, and that's 8A.
All right, in the monthly reports, the Health Department, Human Resources, IT, Public Works, Solid Waste, Treasurer, and Youth Services are there. Any questions or comments on anything in those reports? The next item I have is a financial report for 2025, and this is through April of 2025. I will comment that, especially in the general fund, but most of the departments with property tax, a lot of the revenue has already come in. So you'll see cash balances higher. The revenues are higher than expenditures at this point in the year. That's because a lot of the property tax has been paid through, well, maybe not through April, but through May. So as you look at the cash balance, I'll go down to the bottom of general fund. It does show that we're in good shape, that our fund balance has gone up a couple million. That will go down over the time because the revenues will come in a lot less percentage. So you can see that 55% of our revenues have already been collected, but we've only spent 30%. By the end of the year, we will be on expenses a lot closer to 90 or a 100%. Just the budgets are pretty tight. There's not a lot of excess in the general fund for expenditures. So most of the funds are in good condition. Health department, as they were just here, their fund balance also is up a little bit, again, because property taxes have come in. So any questions with anything in the financial report? Okay. Next thing I have on here is budget work sessions. I just wanted to let you know, and I'm going to hand out a calendar so you guys make sure I have enough copies. So if you want to take one and just pass. So for there's 3 Wednesday meetings in June that we're having. We're having a special one. So June 11th, the normal meeting. We have all departments signed up. So immediately following the June 11th commission meeting, we'll have a few departments that will do their budget presentations. There is a small break in there. The employee picnic is also that day over at Youth Services. So we'll ask the commission to take a break. If you guys want to go grab some food with other employees, and then we'll come back and finish budget work session. And then the following Wednesday, all morning, we're booked to have budget work sessions. And then the second normal commission meeting following that, we'll also have budget work sessions. So everyone's scheduled for either 15 or 30 minutes. Some may not take the full 15, but those are the schedules. Anyone have any concerns, or it's important for all 5 of you to be at those meetings. So. No. 1 o'clock's the last scheduled one. So I believe on June 11th, it's the sheriff's office. That one's kind of at the end, depending on whether that's 15 or 30 minutes, how many questions you have for the sheriff's office on his budget. And I don't have on the second meeting and the third, I'm not sure who the last ones are, but usually they're probably not going to take a long time. Yeah. Okay.
We've got to get together, and we can't get together till we get the right numbers available to look at.
And I do want you to note on the second meeting, what would be June 18th, we do start at 8:30. I didn't wait till the 9 o'clock figure to get you guys out of here a little bit earlier in the day. Instead of going all the way through the mid-afternoon, we could start a little bit early. So that one does start at 8:30 instead of 9 o'clock. And those are not televised, but of course are open to the public. Any member of the public can sit in and listen and observe. And then, Patrick, you had.
Commissioners, I talked a while ago about, I have a couple amendments to the NRP that I'd like to propose. I'd like to do that in June 25th because NRP is a topic that requires a notice to go in the paper before we discuss it. So I wanted to mention today that I'd like to put that publication notice out for June 25th. I have a couple, I think that they're going to, after getting some feedback, I think there are a couple of changes that they're not going to change what the commissioners approved in terms of scope, but the city partners, there's a few cities I think that will participate if we make a couple adjustments to make it easier for them. So that's what we'd like to look at. So if that's okay with you guys, I would like to just put that publication notice in the paper for June 25th, and we can take that up then. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Anything else on your end? All right, county commission reports. Mr. Vincent, you got anything you'd like to speak to?
Yeah. I had a call, I think it's Ron's territory, but I think anyway about the mowing the cemeteries. Is that township or is that us? Take care of the cemeteries.
I don't believe Reno County has any cemeteries. I'm looking at Don. No, some counties do have a county cemetery, but we do not. So those are either going to be private cemeteries or more likely township cemeteries, but they wouldn't.
Like the township.
Yeah.
And we can't tell the township people to mow the cemetery.
No, that is up to them.
And,
They might address their complaint to the proper authority in the,
I don't work.
well, yes, but that's as far as we can go.
Yeah, and let's see. The second thing, after I retired, I did not realize that I had quite a few trailers, some vehicles in company name Ron Vincent DBA, and so I went to these trailers and stuff to register them. I thought, well, it'd be best if I changed that. And boy, that was a mess. I mean, I can't. The gals there, they tried their hardest, and I researched it before I went. I called the state. I called the state and couldn't get no answer from there. The gal that answered the phone, I think she was running the daycare for the revenue office because I could hear kids screaming in the back. But anyway, where do we go to I had 10 of them. I could only do 3 at a time. So that drug that process out. Got down to the last one, and I'd called the state. They told me what to do too. They wouldn't let me do it the way I wanted to, of course. We got down to the last one, and we ran into a problem with it, taking it, and got some help from the people there, and they said, "Oh, well, you can do it this way." And it was like a fourth of the time. I mean, the system's broken. I don't think it's our fault. I'll be honest. The gals they worked hard. I mean, I don't know how they put up with it, to be honest with you, but I spent about 6 hours at the tag department. Where do we go to?
I think this comes up sometimes. The treasurer's department is the face of it, but they have to follow state standards and state rules, especially with the business ones. So Rochelle could probably address it more specifically. I probably know just enough to muddy the water, but it is one of those situations where the county is kind of it's our building and our kind of shared employees, but they have to follow all the state's requirements, and other people have had issues with how long it takes to change the state on a business title. That's about as much as I know. We could have Rochelle talk to you about it sometime. It's probably the next thing. I mean, it's just that's a legislature / state issue more than is a county issue, but we have the responsibility for carrying out the rules the state gives us.
I mean, who do we talk to? Our representatives, or?
I would talk to Rochelle first and get some better ideas as to what, and then I would talk to the representatives about what.
I think
she
her
needs.
hands are pretty well tied. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I would talk to Rochelle just to get she could probably tell you better than I could exactly what fixes would make it better in her office. And then I would tell the legislatures to ask Rochelle what they need to do better.
Randy will.
I don't really have anything this time other than our heart does go out to the folks that were affected by the storm. And you're certainly in our thoughts and our prayers until things get straightened out. So just so they know. But I don't really have anything else today.
Ron, what do you have?
Well, I attended the K-96 corridor's 20th anniversary, and it's the only one of the 4 silos that's still operating, and we had Lieutenant Governor Tolan there and did our the speech, and we had a good representative and turnout. And then after that, went just down the road a couple miles and went to the SCED monthly meeting, and we'll have Jackson has retired from that and taken another enterprise, and so Carissa from the city of Hutchinson will be the new chairman. I don't know whether she has anything to say or not, but she'll be the new chairman here coming up for the next year of the 13-county South Central Kansas Economic Development District. And here again, just like Randy mentioned, special thank you as I was out there Monday morning and in Plevna, and also drove south and followed the line of the tornado, and drove north and followed the line of the tornado. The individuals and the businesses that showed up that morning was unbelievable. The individual people in the community, outside of the community, and all I can say is thank you and for your effort and the machinery you brought and what all you did. It was really something to watch. And that early in the morning, and to get out there and get that done. And I appreciated the call from all of Senator Moran office, Senator Marshall's office, and as well as many others around that gave a call and see what they could do. So I appreciated their interest in that and attentiveness, and as well as our representative too, Tracy Mann. So thank you for your considerations. That's it.
Nothing pressing other than we just had Memorial Weekend, and I had a number of family members who've served in foreign wars, so I was always thankful to them. But when you see the names of people that have gone on, that have served and gave up the ultimate sacrifice, but it's not just that person, but it's their family that's left behind that sacrificed. And just want to, tell everybody out there that is serving or has served, from the bottom of my heart, I would thank you for our freedoms that we have, and still one of the greatest countries in the world, even with all our problems. So just wanted to say, thank you to them. And like Ron was saying, America, when we're down, we're never out. It doesn't seem like. And so when people go through tragedies, there's always somebody there to help lift you up. And again, thankful for Reno County and the response. Our church, and I know other churches, did collections for the people that were affected, and just makes you feel proud to be a part of a community that is such an outreaching community. So that being said, my wife and I have been walking, trying to get some exercise on these beautiful evenings, and there's a few new businesses that you'll see popping up in town or have already popped up. So it's making downtown more pleasant to visit and see, and businesses that the buildings maybe look really bad and now they're trying to repair them and get them back in order. So anyway, just a real good positive. I still think Reno County is a hotbed of, could be, on the way up easily. So just thank you for everything that everybody is doing out in the county. Thank you.
Well, I think you covered the part of veterinary veterans that I forgot to cover. So thank you for those who gave all their lives to do for us, as you mentioned.
Well, when you're number 5, good thoughts have already happened. A couple things have been mentioned. Ron, we had the same problem with the car. Reno County was real helpful, but Sedgwick County saw it a little different. And I've been in all laws and rules have the ability to be interpreted slightly different. And over the years, that's happened to me several times, and one of them was with car registration, as you said. And definitely what everybody else said, I did want to reiterate that our what I was going to say until Ron brought it up is our federal representatives and state representatives have made a lot of phone calls and are there to help when the time comes. Unfortunately, it looks like they're not going to be able to help us along if something doesn't change, as Adam pointed out. But some of them were there physically working. Some of them had their local people, boots on the ground at the site. Others phone calls and personal meetings where I saw some of their local personnel at other meetings that were visiting a day or two later than Ron and I and some of our people did. And I do want to thank Public Works and all our other departments that sent people and did what they could as the departments and that they headed to help the people. So with that, I think if we're done with comments, the next thing on our agenda would be the executive sessions we're going to need to go into, and staff has told me we need to make 2 different go out on one, come back, reopen the meeting, go out on another. So, Patrick, would it be all right? Do you want to?
I would be happy to present a proposed motion if you'd like.
That would be good.
We will be doing 2 different subject matters, and so with executive session, when you have 2 different topics, you have to come back out of the first one and then engage in the second one, which is what we'll be doing. That's the reason for the 2 different motions. But I would ask the board to adopt a motion to adjourn into executive session until 11:05 a.m. with the county administrator, county counselor, and the county appraiser. And the subject matter to be discussed will be county employee performance, and the justification for the executive session is to discuss private matters regarding to non-elected personnel. That is all.
Okay, do we have a motion to that effect? Nothing else, I'll make it. We got.
Thank you.
The motion that was presented to us.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Show of hands, we'll let Autumn off this time. Yes.
I'd like to adjourn out to my office.
We usually read.
Okay,
Well, Ron's not here to amend it.
guys, I guess the other 3 Ron left, but we have a quorum.
I misspoke in my proposed motion and asked you guys to go to adjourn until 11:05. We'd only like to be in the executive session until 10:07.
All right. I'll make the corrective motion. You want a second?
Yep.
Hands, we're ready to go here?
Yep.
All right,
I'll
sorry
second that.
about that, guys. Happens all over.
this one?
I don't know. All right, I'll reopen the general meeting at this point. We're back from the first executive session. There will be a second executive session, and if you guys would read it, because I don't know where we're having it or the time, how much time's involved.
Commissioners, staff are requesting a motion to recess into executive session upstairs again with the county administrator and the county counselor only. Subject matter to be discussed will once again be personnel, performance of non-elected personnel, and the justification is to discuss privacy matters of county employees. And we would ask to return to regular session at 10:20.
Yes, you can.
10 minutes? Well, 10:25.
10:25.
Well, I'll motion to recess to exec session as presented by Counselor.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. Let's give Autumn a break.
Aye.
Aye.
You.
Me.
You, me.
I'll reopen this meeting at this point, reconvene. Nothing, but no votes or anything, no action as a result of the executive session. And with that, we will adjourn for 5 minutes and then open our we'll adjourn. And so
Study session,
we'll open here in 5 minutes, right?
non-televised, yes.